Welcome to the Montana Cabinet Mountains High Route. This was my first attempt, and I failed it. Follow along and I'll tell you the story as to how, but between you and I, a pack of wolves, a bear, and other unforeseen circumstances, this trip was doomed from the start. This story actually begins in early 2023 as spring was coming into full bloom. I purchased plane tickets to backpack the San Juan Mountains in Colorado in August of 2023. I was all set to embark on this adventure and a hike with the owner of an up-and-coming ultralight backpack company, Neighborhood Packs. But destiny had other plans, and unfortunately, just a week before departure, he canceled the trip. With my vacation already booked, the countdown began to find a new backpacking adventure. The new destination? The wild heart of Montana, the Cabinet Mountains Wilderness. I charted and created a 25-mile trail, a mostly untraveled path connecting different alpine lakes, meant to be an epic journey starting from Cliff Lake and ending at Wanless Lake. A friend from work, a last-minute companion, borrowed my gear and joined the scramble. The first leg of the journey, as shown here, was our hike indeed into Cliff Lake. It had been sprinkling rain all day, and the first few thousand steps of the trip were foggy and visibility was at a bare minimum. We eventually made it to camp at the lake, got all set up and settled in, but it wasn't until around 2 a.m. the next morning that I woke to my name being shouted from my friend's tent. You'll soon learn how this trip obtained its first nail in the coffin. Dude, I think this is the lake. I think. I can't even see it. There's definitely water. All right, so welcome to Cliff Lake. So in about 1.1 miles and about 45 minutes, this probably made for the easiest lake I'd say we've ever hiked into, or at least I've ever hiked into. You can see we've got beautiful views of St. Paul Peak and the lake behind us. But honestly, we didn't even know that we walked in on the lake until we got super close to the shores, and then it was like, oh, there's actually water right here. So, yeah, we made it to Cliff Lake, and this is where we're going to call home for the night. So we're going to set up camp and call it home. That your spot?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's where we're doing it.
If you grab your other pole and then put it in that grommet down on that end. I can keep working on it later too.
Well. I've never used this setup called a bubble fly.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to think it's not working.
No? What do you got for dinner?
You know what? I did just chicken and rice.
I have a Mexican chicken and rice.
Okay, that's probably a little more flavorful, but
Same thing.
Dude, so what's up with spoon carving, man? Is that hard to do? Do you have a lathe or something?
No, I literally did it by hand.
It's like,
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think it's called a sloyd knife is what you need, and then I just got like a piece of cherry wood. Like it has to be like green wood if you want to like make it easy on yourself. It's like way easier to carve.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I just kind of made my own spoon. Extra oxygen, anyone? Yummy. All right, so we're sitting here at Cliff Lake, 9:30 at night. This is the Cabinet Wilderness High Route episode number 1, coming to an end. We were actually sitting, eating dinner, and it actually began to rain on us again. That's pretty much how this first day's been, but forecast is showing, or it was at least, sunshine the rest of the week and the rest of the trip. So Didn't have a whole lot of crazy good views today, but it did kind of open up tonight here at the lake. We're able to see St. Paul Peak above us and some more mountains kind of all around. So hoping if the weather can hold and the smoke can hold, we might get some pretty good views for the rest of the trip. But overall, really good day, super easy hike here into Cliff Lake, beautiful. And yeah, so looking forward to continuing the trip. Next up, we're tackling St. Paul Peak, and we're going off trail, walking the ridgeline north to Moran Lake, deciding if we might camp there or we might head for our next destinations. What did it sound like?
It just sounded like something kind of big swimming. Sounded like it came up the shore. But ever since we started talking, I think it kind of started moving into the way.
The rest of the night was filled with us just trying to be patient for daylight to take over from the night sky. Neither of us slept the rest of that night, and I was up bright and early craving my morning coffee. I will say that an hour or so after my friend heard the loud noise of an animal swimming in the water, I too heard it. Briefly, at least. The best way I can describe the noise was that it sounded like something large getting out of the water, like when one stands up on a shore after being fully submerged. It sounded like water spilling off a large animal back into the lake. So we're sitting here just at Cliff, and we've actually got wolves up on the peak. I doubt we can actually see them with this camera, but they are coming down to the lake right now.
They see us.
Yeah, we got a pack of wolves in camp. It's more Lolly I'm a little worried about.
Yeah, that's who I'd be worried about. Hey,
Lolly, come.
that's crazy, man. I've never seen wolves.
How many are there? 1, 2,
Oh, there's got to be
3, 4, 5, I think, at least.
Yeah.
I've never seen a pack either. Yeah, those are, if they start coming down, gotta figure something out. I think I've counted about 5.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's such like, I don't know.
So
They're weird hunters.
I took a class on trapping wolves.
Did you?
Even though I've never got around to doing it.
Yeah.
I did take the class. And they were saying how wolves hunt is they have a territory, right? Which might, let's say it's like 100 acres.
Yeah.
I don't know how much it is in reality, but they just constantly do circles around that 100 acres and kind of meander in that 100 acre area.
Yeah.
So wherever we're at, if it's within their, their territory, we're probably going to see them again.
Yeah. So now we actually have a black bear in camp. He's still standing there. You sure that's a black bear?
No.
Pretty big, dude.
He's probably going after that Fuji tied up, or he's probably smelling it.
The food I tied up?
Oh, wait, no, because he brought it back
Yeah.
here. Oh, no.
Oh no, he's coming after us. All right, so now we were sitting here eating breakfast. Blake spotted a bear on the other side of the lake on the shore. And honestly, it looked like a black bear at first, but then I kind of walked down to the shore and it looked bigger, but it was pretty dark. So, all right, so it's about 10:45. We packed up camp and kind of just been moving pretty slow because, yes, we saw a bear. We're actually not sure if it was a black bear or a grizzly or a brown, but it was definitely on the opposite side of the lake where Blake was hearing noises last night where he was sleeping. So a little ominous. We've actually got to walk that way to get up to St. Paul Peak, so we'll kind of see how that goes. But yeah, within an hour, pack of wolves and a bear. So we'll see how the rest of the trip goes. The initial plan was to go to Moran Lake, whereas if you were actually to hike to the top of St. Paul Peak and hike the ridgeline north, then you'll kind of drop down into Moran Lake. It's kind of a back way to get to the lake.
That's right, baby. We have arrived.
Okay, so we finally made it to St. Paul Peak. It took us probably about an hour. We kind of had trouble finding the trail. We'd find it, then we'd lose it. We kind of just switched back our way up here, and it's beautiful, man. We've got absolutely beautiful views of the cabinets all around us. And now we're kind of now we're just kind of sizing up our next objective of this Cabinet Mountain high route. And so what we've actually got to do next is we've got to tackle this ridge line that you can kind of see behind me here. And what that's actually going to do is it's actually going to take us to Moran Lake here in the Cabinets. And so from what I've seen on a map, there's an actual known trail, an actual made trail that kind of switchbacks down into that little bowl that you guys can kind of see right behind me here, and Moran Lake should be right there. So once we make it to Moran Lake, we'll kind of decide, do we want to stay here, do we want to press on and continue, and we'll kind of make that decision as it comes. But right now we're taking this ridge line to Moran Lake. It makes it kind of nice. Yeah. I don't know how we got so far off the ridge, but we got like too high, close to the kind of the peak that looks over Moran Lake, and we almost just kind of got clipped out. And we've been beating brush for the last half hour trying to get out of it and back to the ridge line, but I'm soaked and pretty banged up. This sucks. Doing all right?
Yeah, you want some water, dude?
I got some. We can stop so you can get some.
Yeah, I need some.
Okay.
Yeah, find crappier stuff. Never with a pack. That's pretty good.
That's horrible. We just made it to the ridge line, or back to the ridge line, and enough said. So now that we're actually on the right track, we found a pretty good little game trail that we're following. But I'll tell you what, that off the path stuff, that was not fun. Worst part of the trip so far. But I think I was looking at the map. I think what happened was we stayed too high. We stayed too high close to kind of like the peak, the unnamed peak that looks down over the Moran lakes. And when we stayed too high, we just got to a point where we had to go down when we were essentially kind of getting cliffed out, and it was very steep and things are wet because it rained all day yesterday and it was ugly. But I even dropped my phone at one point and it tumbled down and we had to find it. It was the whole thing, but we're on the right track now. Hopefully we'll be getting over to hopefully we'll be hitting the viewpoint soon in the junction for the Moran Lakes Trail. I really can't believe like how good this trail actually is though. All right, we are at the junction for Moran Lakes, and now we begin our descent down into them. Hoping the trail is good, but hopefully we'll be there before we know it. But I think we should have a pretty good view popping out here before us pretty soon. All right, so this is our home, yeah? Kind of sucks there's no view of the lake though, but you want to tell everyone what you're eating for dinner? What's your meal choice?
Oh yeah, stag chili. Piping hot, right out of the can.
Yeah, it is.
Moran Lake was beautiful. This minimally traveled, secluded alpine lake made for our home to close out day number 2 of our Cabinet Mountains high route. While coming up with tomorrow's game plan, my friend hit me with the worst news that I was not expecting. Due to what I believe to be time constraints and the need to get back to civilization and technology, and also the ominous feelings of the wild animals that we had encountered, he asked if I would be okay if we ended our trip the next day and hike out the way we came. Now, I'm not going to lie, I was pretty shocked to say the least, and I didn't film much the rest of the evening. I was too frustrated, so we ate dinner and settled in for the night and called it a day at Moran Lake. The next morning there was nothing left to do but pack up camp and hike back to the Cliff Lake trailhead. I was not excited to backtrack the way we came. As we hiked out, it was a bluebird day, and I couldn't help but wonder what the rest of the trip would have brought us. As we hiked the ridgeline back to St. Paul Peak, I was able to look out over the valley to the mountains on the other side of it. The destination for the next night was staring right back at me, and it left a fire lit inside to come back the next year and finish this high route. We got back to St. Paul Peak, and instead of climbing back over it, we cut down and under it, taking a slightly different route, kind of where we saw the wolves the previous morning. The silver lining of hiking out was that I was able to see the views that the fog kept hidden from us on the first day. It was beautiful. In total, we hiked 9.4 miles with a total elevation gain of 3,240 vertical feet. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to leave a big thumbs up on it and comment down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you on the next video.